Hi internet people! Okay, so you may not know this because you may not do this or have heard about it before, but March is the DisneyBound Challenge. So the DisneyBound is a very popular among like Disney adults, Disney fans. It's an account where they create prompts during the month of March. Sometimes they do it in other months as well, or do like some kind of specific day, but March is the big one. They do a bunch of prompts for the entire month. So every day you post a different Disney bound or outfit inspired by a Disney character. So today's theme, because I checked, is bound with, so it's like Mickey ears plus bound. And so I am doing Anna, but it's Wreck-It Ralph. Well, Ralph Wrecks the Internet Anna. So I did little braids. I really like this shirt. Krista got it for me while we were dating and it's very fun. And then I added mouse ears. So I'm technically bounding as Anna. The ears, I feel like our ears Anna would love. Like, I think she would be so for going to the parks for Pride. I think she would host Pride in Arendelle. Though Anna is totally straight. She really is. I debated about doing Elsa, but I just really love this shirt. Also, technically I am banned from bounding Elsa anymore because anytime I do an Elsa outfit, in any capacity, we get snow. So perhaps I am truly Elsa. And if so, Elsa is at least bisexual because I am bisexual. And if I am somehow the human embodiment of Elsa with, you know, the wrong hair color, but Idina Menzel and I have similar hair, so anyway, because I told Krista I would not bound Elsa anymore. I am doing an Anna bound, but I probably would have done this anyway. I really want to wear this in the parks. We didn't have these shirts when we went on our first date at Disney in 2017. Yes, our first ever date as a couple was a Disney World trip. We did not plan it, technically. She was invited to a birthday, and she invited me along, which was very nice of her because I could not completely afford to go because I had a very, very low paying job at the time. But we went. It was very, very fun. But I would love to wear this in Epcot and go on the Frozen ride in it. Because eventually when we go back to Disney, we're riding that Frozen ride. There's a whole story about this. I'm not going to get into it here, but of the two of us, am the only one that's ridden the Frozen ride because Krista had to get out of line, which really, really sucked because people misled her on how far away we were from the boats. But I am not here to talk about Disney trips. I am here to talk about Disney books. So because this month is DisneyBound themed, I really wanted to read some of the Disney books I have on like my backlog. So we have a bunch of the Twisted Tale books. We have a ton of Star Wars books. We also have a few non-Twisted Tales, but I really like the Twisted Tales. So I'm going to share 3 books I read this week actually that are Disney / Star Wars. One is Star Wars, but it is a Disney book because Star Wars is owned by Disney if you didn't know. And then I have 2 that I read previously that I really want to talk about because I really like them. So I'm going to start with the ones that I read previously and then talk about the 3 I read this week. Also, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. I have this very fun Haunted Mansion cup. It's lovely. It has the wallpaper. It says Haunted Mansion on the back, but it's very difficult to flip a cup full of coffee. Also, fun fact, because I wanted to be very in theme, and I drink a lot of this anyway, today's coffee, this is the unopened bag, is Joffrey's, which is a Disney-specific coffee brand. They do other things, but they're like Disney's specific coffee partner, and this is the Hoppity Ever After. You can get this at like TJ Maxx for cheaper than on their website, but I actually have a ton of Joffrey's coffee during Halloween last year / October. I guess and the fall. Krista bought me a ton of the Villains coffee and the Hocus Pocus coffee because I really liked it. And our TJ Maxx stopped carrying it. Like they just ran out because they only get a limited supply. So yeah, I drink a lot of Joffrey's. So I'm having that one today. But let's get into the books. I've already chatted your ear off. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is Part of Your World, which I read before the live action Little Mermaid came out. So in this one, because you can't tell, it's on the cover, but it's what if Ariel had never defeated Ursula. So the plot of this one is that instead of the big defeating Ursula scene from the original movie, Ursula has actually succeeded in being Vanessa and marrying Eric, and King Triton is still a little guy, a poor unfortunate soul. And Ariel is now the king. She is ruling the kingdom because her sisters don't want to. And they're pissed at her because their dad has disappeared. And everything is awful. So in this, Eric is married to Vanessa. But what's happening is now the kingdom is just truly awful. Ursula is using all of her powers to influence the kingdom. She's making sure that Eric doesn't really have any say. She's just using any magic she can. But the issue is, because Ursula is a sea being, her magic kind of has some issues because she can't do some of the things she used to, and she just sort of has to maintain her Vanessa presence. She has to keep Flotsam and Jetsam as humans. There's a lot of things she's doing. Ariel also has the Triton, so she can do her own sort of magic. So we get Ariel on land, which is very interesting. But the story was really fun and super captivating because it just kicks off with like everything is completely different, which I really like with these. Liz Braswell, I think that's how you say her name. She writes a lot of these. She shows up a few times in this list. But this one I really enjoyed. I thought it was really clever. It's pretty hefty. While I was reading it, I do remember thinking it was a little long. It's still very good, but it's just a tiny bit long, so keep that in mind. There's also lots of different points of view, so that does help like mix it up. So very fun. If you like The Little Mermaid, I definitely recommend this. The next one is my absolute favorite. It's the Tiana one. It's almost there. And the plot of this one by Farah Roshan, I always feel like I'm pronouncing everyone's names wrong. It's what if Tiana had made a deal that changed everything. So in this one, I've read this one the longest ago. I read it right when it came out. In this one, she actually accepts the offer from Dr. Facilier in the graveyard, and so her life is completely different. She has a little restaurant, her father is alive, but the issue is her wish / deal has started altering New Orleans altogether. So like shadows are creeping in, things are growing darker, and everything is just sort of off. So the story is just really interesting because Louis, is it Louis? Louis, it's Louis. The trumpet playing crocodile, alligator. Crocodile? I think it's an alligator. Yes, alligator. He's a human in this because she like sort of got a number of things to come to pass. Now the issue is there's no Naveed in her life. So like things are just different for her. So it is all just like, there's a lot of magic. We get a little more in like backstory on the Shadow Man, Dr. Facilier. I was obsessed with this one. It was just so good. Like I could not stop reading it. I know I read this super fast. These are pretty easy too because I believe they are considered YA, even though some of the stories get pretty dark. The Ursula plot gets a little dark. This also gets kind of dark. In that there's like dark magic, but it does get a little creepy. I just really love this one. If you like Tiana at all, she's my favorite princess. This one is so good, so I highly recommend this one. I recommend all of these, but I would say the Tiana one is my top recommendation. So if you want to try one for the first time, I would read that one first. I just think it does a really good job of setting up like the alternate story. So that was my suggestion for like the starter one of these. Now the next book is not a twisted tale. It's happening in the middle because this is in the order I read them, so you get a tiny break. This is Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston, who has more books that are behind me that are about Padme and her handmaidens. I'll be reading those in May. They're part of my Star Wars themed reading plans, just as an FYI. But this focuses on Ahsoka's story between Clone Wars and Rebels. And I'm taking another sip of coffee. I don't know what to tell you. I drink a lot of coffee. Also, my throat's a little sore. Not like bad sore, but I've been talking a lot. Okay, so this is set in between Clone Wars and Rebels and explains to you what Ahsoka's been doing since Order 66. And it also leads into how she has her code name in Rebels, what she's been doing, how she got into that position. You do get to see some familiar favorite characters. They do pop up. And I just thought it was really good. They do create like new people, new characters. There's also, I believe, a queer character in this. It's very like quick, like it's a quick moment, but I'm pretty sure there's a queer character. We get a really great sister dynamic on the planet Rada. There's an older sister that Ahsoka meets, and then we also meet her younger sister. It's a very good dynamic. It's really good. This one gets real dark because Inquisitors are coming and troopers wind up on Rada. There is also another planet we meet where we learn what some of the Empire controlled areas are doing to try and combat the Empire and its control. there you go. I used control twice there, sorry. But this one was really good. If you like Ahsoka, if you like Clone Wars, if you like Rebels, this is a highly high recommendation because it really fills in some of those missing pieces between Clone Wars and Rebels. At least it did for me. So if you loved both those things, definitely read this one. But not a Twisted Tale. This is a general, just like, story for you kind of thing. All right, now we're back to Twisted Tales. The first one that I'm going to talk about is also by the same person who wrote the Ariel one. So this is As Old as Time, which is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, where it's Belle's mother who is the enchantress. Now, this one took me a little bit to get into. The first part of the book is good, but tricky. So the first part is told in chapters that change between young Maurice's point of view and present day Belle. And present day Belle is literally just like a novelization of the Beauty and the Beast movie until like the final page of part 1. So like I kind of skimmed through those. We get some like extra thoughts, extra dialogue moments, but Belle's chapters in part 1 were like the least exciting to me, just because it is mostly a retelling of the movie with some little bits added. And then Maurice, we're learning how he met Belle's mother, that there were magical beings in this area of France, and that there was something going on with them, as well as a fever. So it sets up this dynamic with her mother, the king, the queen, and the beast / the prince. And when Belle goes to the West Wing, like she does in the movie, instead of stopping from touching the rose, she touches the rose and things go completely haywire. We get backstory on a lot of characters. They're also described a bit more like they were in the live action movie, where they don't really have faces. She says she can't see faces on them, but that they have like arms and they can move. So the servants are a little bit different. But they still talk very similarly to the animated movie, which is fun. But we learn more about Mrs. Potts and her husband, who plays a key part in this story. But it was really interesting. And this one gets dark, like almost adult levels of dark, because Monsieur d'Arc is present and the asylum plays a big part in the end of the story. So just keep that in mind. I do still think it falls under like YA for sure, but just like maybe older YA or like YA for people who are comfortable with some very uncomfortable topics. But this is very interesting. The Beast is also slightly different, I feel like, in this, but I really liked it. So I enjoyed this one. I will just say it was a little slow going at the beginning, but once I got to part 2, I was like very invested, and it stops doing alternating points of view every other chapter, but we do get some other character points of view as we go through. And then the final one also goes with my outfit, because it is Conceal, Don't Feel. What if Anna and Elsa didn't know each other? So in this story, it starts with Elsa being like presented at the age of 18. She's not of age. In Arendelle, you have to be 21 to be of age, at least as a woman is what they say. So she's introduced at 18. And what's interesting is there is no Anna. She doesn't remember an Anna. She has no idea who Anna is, but we meet Anna. So as it turns out, Anna exists, but she's not living at the castle. And the mother is visiting her. So this one it's reminiscent of the original movie, so things do follow the Frozen storyline. Hans is introduced, Kristoff is introduced, but in this one, Anna has been living a life separate from Elsa since the moment she was hit with snow. So she has the white streak, but that white streak she has no memory of. Her adoptive parents tell her that she's been kissed by a troll, and that's all I'm going to tell you because this one was really fun, and it's a super quick read. It's one of the shorter ones, and I thought this was such a fun time. I thought it was very clever. It does some cool stuff, but it's very fun. If you like Frozen, I think you would get a kick out of this one. I also think this is the easiest one for like a younger reader to latch onto. So if you're trying to find books for like younger readers, this would be a good start for these because it's also not as dark. I mean, the parents die, but that happens in the movie. So it has the least dark subject matter of them. So those are the 5 that I wanted to talk about this week during the March DisneyBound Challenge. Now that is going on for the rest of the month, but I have some other plans for reading, and so I set aside like a week where I was just gonna like read some Disney books, some Star Wars books, and then get back into some other reading that I want to do. So I hope you liked these. If you have read any of them, please let me know what you liked, which of the Twisted Tales or a Disney or Star Wars book you liked. I was also going to read the Rapunzel book because we own it. I don't know where it is. I put it in a particular room in our house and it has been absorbed by the room. I don't know where it is. I could not find it. I do still want to read that one, so it's on my list once I find it. to actually read. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, if you've read any Twisted Tales or Disney books, even Star Wars books, please let me know in the comments because I would love more suggestions, or like which ones you liked, because we own some that I haven't read yet. But yes, so that is it. If you are doing the DisneyBound challenge, tell me if you're having fun, what you've done so far. I haven't really done it this month. I was really busy, and I just haven't felt like super motivated to put looks together. I do have some coming this week though, because I'm doing some trios with the ladies of Gotham City Bounders. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like. You can subscribe. I do a lot of bookish stuff. I also feel like Anna would have really liked my Twilight videos. So if you haven't watched those, I did 2 Twilight reading vlogs. You can check those out. I have tons of vampire themed reading vlogs. But yes, so you can also find me on Instagram at ClefGoEverAfter. And yeah, if you like this video, I hope to see you around more often. I do lots of reading things, but I am gonna go. And if you're bounding, hope you're having fun. Bye, internet people.